What's going on, you guys? If you're new here, my name is Morgan and welcome back to another video. So I've done videos about contracts and things like that. Fix the camera a little bit. I've done videos about contracts. I think the previous video before this was about breeders' contracts. And I had mentioned in a previous video about Neleus returning. Neleus is a puppy from Galadriel and Cappuccino. He was one of the last ones to go home after his family had me hold him an extra week. And they had him for a week. We got on Wednesday and it's Tuesday right now. And they texted me on Monday and said, you know, we don't want him anymore. We can't do this. We just don't want him. There's nothing wrong with the dog itself. Would I send him home? He got a clean vet check. Was 100% healthy. And today it is Tuesday and I received him about 7 o'clock in the evening. So, you know, when we take puppies back, we tell everybody we want everything back with them, which includes their blanket, their toy, anything that has their smell on it. And vaccination records, especially, and their CKC records. So the only thing that was returned to me were the CKC records and the contract. So that is a very, very big issue because he should have had everything with him, not just that. So he should have had his vaccination records with him, which included his shots and his deworming schedule and everything that had to do with his birth, but that was not returned to me. So they drove a couple hours, so why that was not returned to me is beyond me. Neither was his blanket, which really upsets me because that was his blankie. All the dogs have a designated blanket, and it has their smell, their mom's smell, sibling smell, so they are comfortable when they go home. The toy is not such a big deal. I was hoping it would be returned to me because it is his toy that I picked from his litter, and it was not returned to me, but that's not a big deal. I will get him another toy, but his blankie was not returned to me, and neither was his vaccination record. Those two things is what bothers me the most because his vaccination record was something that would go to him with his new home, and now I have to get the vet to sign off on another vaccination record, but he has to go see the vet anyways. So because he's so nervous, he does have a little bit of diarrhea. He did poop all over me and all over my husband, so that was when we had just picked up dinner. But he also is shaking his head, so most likely he has an ear infection. When he got his check, he was clear for any ear infections. I cleaned his ears out. His ears are absolutely disgusting. He is shaking his head real bad. So most likely he does have an ear infection, which is a pain in the butt. But we had to keep him anyways because I've had to get on quite a few families' butts about not putting their puppies on the floor, or not on the floor, but on the ground, grass, dirt, whatever, because that does increase their risk of catching parvo. So even though they've had 2 rounds of shots now, they can still catch parvo if you're not careful, and everything carries parvo. You know, you can bring parvo in off your shoes, which is why I change my shoes in the house, and I don't wear my shoes anywhere else but the house, and I make sure I bleach and clean them before I go in the house because it kills all parvo or distemper. But I've had to get on a few families behind about putting their dogs on the ground because they can catch parvo. It's 2 weeks after their 3rd round of shots where you can finally start taking them outside, which is why we puppy pat train them. Now, we do take them outside and put them on the porch with AstroTurf that I do wash down every day so they can kind of get used to a grassy feel, even though they're not particularly in the grass. So I'm very, very careful and very, very thorough about this. And the good thing is there's no cats can get in, no birds, no nothing. So we are very, very careful about this. We're very, very thorough. But it is cleaned on the daily. But the fact of the matter is, none of this stuff was returned with Neleus. And that is the biggest pain in the butt because I expected all of it to be returned. I have told everybody to return everything when they bring their dogs back, but they returned nothing except for the CKC records, and they told me they were bringing everything back with them. CKC records and the contract. That was it. So it is very, very frustrating, especially when I needed his vaccination records. And I'm just so frustrated, and they should have done his shots as well, but they did not do his 3rd round of shots. So I think when they realized that they'd have to do his 3rd round of shots and his rabies, they couldn't do it. So the excuse they gave me, which you know, I hear it a lot. They don't have the money and they don't have the time. So the new excuse when I met with them was they travel too much. So these people don't have the money for the dog, but travel a lot. So I guess it doesn't really add up, which it's not my right to judge you based on your lifestyle. But you did not return this puppy with anything. He has an ear infection. He could have parvo now, because now that he has the ear infection, I don't know what they did with this dog, but we quarantine anyways. Hershey! We quarantine anyways because of this. So it's a good idea to quarantine your puppies when you receive them back because you never know what somebody does with your dog, with your puppies. So I will be quarantining him, and he will be staying here for about a week, maybe longer depending on when he finds a home. But I do have some families interested in him. But that is the biggest problem that I'm having right now, is that no vaccination records. He has an ear infection, and hopefully his diarrhea is just from stress. But diarrhea can be a symptom of parvo as well as worms. So, and they obviously didn't take him to the vet after I particularly told him to take him to the vet after you get him, because you can check him for worms and everything else. I always tell people to take your puppy back to the vet, because you never know that they could stress themselves out. You never know what could be going on, and you always want to get them vet checked. Our puppies do come with a 72-hour health guarantee. So even though our vet checks them, you should get your puppy checked out regardless. You shouldn't just rely on me. And it is my job to make sure I send home a healthy puppy. But after maybe even a week, you should take them, because it doesn't take long for coccidia, roundworms, tapeworms, hookworms, giardia to start showing up. And even though they're negative with us, they could go home and be positive, which it's because the positive test doesn't show up for a long time. But luckily, we did get a negative fecal back, but he does have some diarrhea, so I will have to keep an eye on him. But again, he could have worms right now and come back negative, so I have to kind of keep an eye on him for another 7 days before we can get a negative test back, or positive test back. But I will be doing deworming him starting tomorrow, because I do have to deworm these 2 puppies over here, which I haven't even named yet, which I'm still trying to name. But anyways, it's been a whole thing. I'm so upset about the vaccination records, but I will have my vet sign off on a new thing of them. But they were just ready to get rid of them. They shoved in my arms. I'm sorry, thank you, bye. That's all they said. Sorry, thank you, bye. Shoved them into my arms, didn't say goodbye, no nothing. They weren't even upset. So it is what it is. I'm assuming they weren't as attached to him. A lot of my families get very, very attached very, very quickly. I'm talking about you if you're watching this video. I know you're attached to this puppy. She went and they drove down from Georgia and picked up this puppy. Her, Neleus' twin sister, who I talk to on the daily. Her new name is Adeline. I talk to them on the daily. I talk to so many of our families almost on the daily. So the fact that this has happened was very, very upsetting and very, very heartbreaking for the puppy. But it is what it is. He is home now, and I have to keep him quarantined for a little while before I can finally get him back to normal and get him to a new home. But anyways, if you send a puppy back, please make sure you send everything with the puppy. Don't just send the puppy back. Send everything with the puppy. But anyways, now we're going to work on Neleus. So I'll make sure to include a picture of Neleus' little face here so you can see Neleus. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And as usual, guys, I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Don't forget to hit a like and subscribe, especially if you like Neleus. I'll see you guys later.